Hey everybody, welcome to Moving Matt. If you're new to this channel, we do a lot of camera tips and reviews, vlogs, and if the world ever opens back up, travel. So today I'm going to go into these absolutely insane specs of the new Canon camera called the EOS R5. And this thing is really shaking up the industry.
Earthquake test!
Canon is really not known for innovating, at least not in the last 4 or 5 years. So for a long time, Canon has been the big dog, and it still really is. But as the big dog, it seems like every camera that they've came out with over the last few years has really just been incremental upgrades and nothing really groundbreaking. On the contrary, Sony has really came up and taken a big bite of the market because they really have been known for just innovating and innovating, except for over the last about year now. It seems like Sony is starting to follow suit and do what Canon did, where they seem to be more complacent these days, and it looks like Canon just woke up. So I'm going to go into a lot of these specs. If you're not a techie type person, you're probably not going to like this video, but you did click on it, so you should honor your decisions. I believe in you. You can really do it this time.
Just do it!
I'm really going to go through some of the ones that stick out to me as a vlogger and a travel vlogger in particular. As a travel vlogger, a lot of times you're in a run and gun scenario and you don't really want to take a lot of lenses with you. And this thing does 8K 30p. So understanding that, you're really able to get by with 1 or 2 lenses with this thing because you were able to zoom in 8 times and still have a full 1080p HD, which is completely enough for most people's computers and phones and even most TVs, to be real. For example, this is a 4K video and I'm able to zoom in 4 times without any change. Another big thing is that it's going to be in 10-bit. And most prosumer cameras that are out on the market today are in 8-bit. So imagine like in the past, think of Mario. It was in 8-bit and now it's going to be in 10-bit.
No, that's not right.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I guess I don't even really need this page anymore. As I was saying, 10-bit is absolutely a big deal because you're able to push the colors in a way that you just can't do with 8-bit. And if you're into color grading, that's really a big deal. Now the other incredible thing that I don't even know how they're doing is 8K 30p RAW internal. So RAW video is similar to like RAW pictures. It allows you to edit like crazy. For example, it's allowed me to take this picture and turning it into this, which is the picture I used for the last thumbnail. And now you know I'm not much of a photographer, but you know, a little editing magic. But think about this, with 8K RAW, it's really gonna be able to change everything to do with video and pictures. Because a lot of times I've seen that when I'm working with a client, a lot of the best moments come in the in-between times when you're kind of just talking to people. When you just point a camera in their face and you tell them to pose, and a lot of times it doesn't really work out the best. The way I get the best pictures is to try to get them in character, making them feel like, you know, for example, you think, oh, think James Bond.
Take the picture, all right? Arch an eyebrow for me. Other eyebrow. No, you just look confused.
And if you're able to record at 8K RAW, you're really able to just record them. And as long as you crank up the shutter speed, you're gonna be able to take pretty much any image out of that and be able to edit it basically like you could edit any RAW picture. So it really is a game changer. Another huge feature that they're gonna have is 4K 120. And 4K 120, it's just, this is going to create that extra slow motion, and it's going to be extremely high quality slow motion video. So a lot of people might be hearing the specs, and if you're new to cameras, you might be thinking, well, what's the big deal? My Samsung does 8K and my iPhone does these high slow motion. But you really have to understand that it's completely different when it comes to a real camera. So the Samsung camera has a sensor which is about the size of my pinky nail, and this will be a full frame sensor. So this will be a huge sensor. So you're going to be getting a lot better low light performance and a lot better depth of field than you would get from any smartphone camera. And the other big thing is the size of the files. So the 8K out of the Samsung is about 80 megabytes per second. The 4K alone in this EOS R that I have is somewhere around 400 megabytes. So you just have a lot more information you're dealing with, which usually means a lot more quality. And another thing that I think is going to be an absolute godsend for vloggers is this 5-axis in-body image stabilization. So Canon actually does stabilization really good with just their lens and their electronic stabilization. To have an in-body image stabilization along with it, I just really don't know what it's going to be like. You're going to get very smooth motion. Of course, it's not going to be just like a gimbal. That being said, gimbals are really big and bulky, and they really don't work in a vlogging or traveling type scenario. I have one, I barely use it. I might bring it out for some client shoots, but on a normal basis, I don't want to carry around a gimbal. I want to be able to pull out my camera anytime I want, take a quick video, or take a picture. On a gimbal, it's hard to take any kind of valuable pictures, and you really just have nowhere good to store it. So gimbals are for very specific shots, but this 5-axis image stabilization will be incredible for vloggers. This also has dual card slots. That's been a big problem that a lot of people have had with this EOS R that I'm using right now, is that it has one card. So it kind of puts me in a position where I don't feel very comfortable shooting live events, especially something like a wedding, because even though it's very unlikely, a card can corrupt, and if it does, then you lose all that information. And if you lose somebody's wedding, I mean, there's no getting that back. Now they do have just one CF Express card and one SD card. I would like to have seen 2 CF Express cards.
2 nipples. 3 nipples. Oh, hell no, I'm out of here.
That being said, it is an extremely expensive card, so there's some pros and cons there, but I think since this camera is so future-proof that it should have had 2 dual CF Express cards, but I mean, that's a kind of a minor gripe considering all this is giving us. So really, these are the big specs that's got me very excited, but a few of the potential cons is gonna be obviously the price. I mean, what is this thing gonna cost? This is a very groundbreaking camera, and it really competes with a lot of their cinema cameras, at least in the spec side. I really don't think it's gonna mess with their cinema sales, because there's a lot of benefits to a cinema camera that if you're in that industry, you need. But still, for this to be so innovative, what is this thing gonna cost? Now, some people are saying $5,000–6,000. Really don't think it's gonna go that high. I think most of the rumors coming out saying it's gonna be somewhere around 4,000 or in that range. And that's what I expect to see. And if it's in that range, it's really a still of a camera. Now, personally, I don't see myself buying this anytime soon, but I really am grateful that I jumped in with this original EOS R, even though the specs left a lot to desire. But the fact that I'm able to invest in that lens system when I do want to upgrade, this is going to be the camera for me. So drop in the comment section below. Let me know, are you a Canon shooter? Are you excited for this camera? Have you maybe moved to Sony because they've been innovating, but are maybe going to move back? Does this entice you enough? Or do you think, hey, camera companies ebb and flow, Sony's going to be back on top in a few years, I'm just going to stick it out with my system? And I completely understand, and Sony's are great cameras as well. But drop in the comment section below, let me know, and be sure to like and subscribe, and peace.